Hi guys, welcome back to Vintology by Lola. I am going to attempt to do a tutorial on my flowers. There were a lot of people who were asking questions on specifically how I made them. And if you've been around my channel enough, you see I don't usually do how-to videos. I am an art teacher and I love to teach, but I always feel like I don't have enough space with my phone to be able to teach, and I never am sure if I'm in frame, and I do a lot of ums when I'm on camera. I feel like I feel unscripted or something. I'm not exactly sure what my problem is. When I'm up in front of my kids and stuff, I have no problem, but when I'm on camera, everything flies out of my head. So bear with me. I am again going to say this is not my original idea. This came from a lot of different people. I took everything and I combined it into one to make what worked for me. Nothing I'm doing will be the first time it's been done. It's been done by varying people. And so I take none of this as the first time. It's not an original idea. And so I thank people who have done it before. I'm just showing it so you have someplace to go to see how it's done. So let me tell you what I used. I went to Hobby Lobby, and when Hobby Lobby has 40% off of their fabric is the best time to buy the stuff. I paid 75 cents for a yard of tulle, and they have many colors. I happen to buy many colors. This is brown. I don't think I even went through half a yard to make all the flowers that you saw. Oh, here. These are the flowers that we're going to be making. Duh. Let me just, in case you don't know which ones I'm talking about, I have lots of string, sorry. So these are the flowers. If you go back a video, you can see all of them, but these are the two I was using as my example, okay? So anyway, back to the fabric. Tulle, on sale for 40% off. It's 75 cents a yard, okay? So buy it by the yard. It's very cheap. Of course, you can buy it on the spool. They have it on the spool like this. This is not really tulle. This I bought at Christmas, but it comes on a spool like this. You can buy it like that too if it's easier for you to store. I just bought it like this because it was 75 cents and they had so many colors, and I didn't want a whole bunch. I just wanted to cut it apart and see what I could do with it, and it was wider, so that's why I bought it that way. Then I went and looked at satin, and satin came in many colors. It ranged from $7.99 to $4.99, or $4.99 to $7.99, whichever way you want to look at it. 40% off. I bought a quarter of a yard, you guys, and these were the three colors I put together for my brown flowers. So I bought these three. A quarter of a yard was 95 cents for a quarter of a yard. So I bought 10 different colors, so it was $9.50. This is how much I have. This is how much I have left after making 4 flowers. So I still have, and this is double. I still have a ton left. I probably have enough to make another probably 8 flowers. So I'm guessing out of a quarter of a yard, you can probably get, probably if you're using it with 3 other flowers, you can probably get 5 flowers for a quarter of a yard if you're using it with other ones. So it's a really great deal. So anyway, that's my suggestion. Only buy it when it's 40% off, and the satin is really nice. Then I had suggested using old scarves. This is part of, I went to the thrift store with a friend and we picked up an old shower curtain, and a shower curtain. It was a gorgeous shower curtain. Look at that, okay? And it is gorgeous pattern, and it had many colors in it: browns, greens, purples, beiges. And to say that you could probably make a million flowers would be putting it mildly, but anything that is that, oh, that feeling of nylon, silky, that feels like a scarf, that will burn really nice, and it rips really nice too. I don't even cut it anymore. I tear it. And when I say I tear it, I literally put a snip in it and I tear it. And usually down here you have to cut it because it's doubled, but the rest of it you just tear it, and it tears really wonderfully. So, and because this is such a inexact art, it works really perfect. So there is that. Okay, so those are the things that you need for fabric. Then you need a tea light. Okay, so you need a tea light. You need something to light your tea light with. Okay, if you know anyone who smokes, great. If not, matches work fine. Then you need something for your center. I'm using rhinestone buttons. You need needle and thread. Okay, I'm using this to show you guys because you can also use this to embellish, which is what I used up in here. This works great. This is DMC floss. This is not actually DMC floss. It is something else I bought somewhere. I can't remember, but it is very similar to that, and you can use that. Extras, you can use lace to embellish it, to put in between the layers. You can use this, which is not really, I don't think that this is truly a netting or a tulle. I don't know what it is. This works in between the layers. I use this. This is not really, they're calling this glitter yarn, but it's more like a plastic. But this works really great. I use this at Christmas. This works really fabulous. And this is some of my, see, I'm drawing a blank, you guys. Told you it would happen. My eyelash yarn, okay? So these are some of the things that I used. I also have these clips that I told you about that my husband had in the shop, and I think we got these, I think I picked these up as a stocking stuffer, and I think I got them at Harbor Freight for 99 cents or in a bin or something at Menards or something. But these are great for your craft room to have when you're trying to glue stuff. They're just fabulous to have around, but these work really well for holding them together before you stitch them. So what I thought I would do is I would show you some of them before we when I cut them, what it looks like when I cut them, and then I'll show you what they look like after they're burned, and then I'll burn some. Okay, and then we'll stitch one together. Okay, so what I do is I start by ripping my fabric, and then when I say it is an unexact art, I mean it is absolutely unexact. So I just tore a piece off of my satin, and then I'm going to fold it into thirds, and I'm going to take my scissors, and I literally am just going to cut it into a circle. Now, I know some of you think this is a waste, but I don't have enough room in my craft area to save every scrap and morsel. So to me, it's worth it to just do this and get rid of it. If there's someone who wants these scraps, save them, great. For me, it's garbage. So now I have 3 circles. Now what I did was I cut all of my circles. I looked at them. Okay, this one is kind of So then I would take this, because that one is really bad. It's flat on that one side. So I'll make it a little bit smaller because you need graduated sizes. That piece. And so now that one's a little bit smaller. So that actually works out pretty well because I needed a graduated size anyway. So you have different sizes, which is perfect. You need different sizes in order to stack them up, in order to see the different sizes in your flowers. So what I did was I cut all of my circles first and then started burning. I did the same thing with my tulle, which I'm sure is super hard to see on camera. So I'll do I have thread everywhere, you guys, because this stuff just comes apart. Okay, so there's a bunch. And then here is some of the shower curtain. And then here's some of the brown. Okay, so then what you do is you get your light ready. Now, I in my last video, I said I did not feel comfortable putting it on a plastic mat, so I used glass. I suggest putting it on a coaster or a trivet that you have a piece of glass to keep it on. This is a cheapy tea light, probably from the Dollar Tree. For some reason, I have 6 or 8 of them laying around. I don't know what I used them for. Maybe they went inside of pumpkins or something, but I had a bunch of them. So I put it on this trivet. It just made me feel more secure instead of having a hot candle, because I had this candle going, I'm going to say I had it going for 3.5 hours, and it just kept going and going, and it did drip wax all over this, and it was super easy to clean off the glass, so that's why I loved it too, versus trying to clean it off the plastic. So, like this, okay. Now, it will take you time to figure out how far you can hold your material away from it. You will probably burn your fingers. I hate to say that. So if you have sensitive fingers, you might want to use some sort of tool that will not melt, something metal, maybe a dentist's tool, something. I was trying to see if I had anything. I really don't have anything metal other than maybe a jewelry tool. I was trying to see if I had a jewelry tool that I could use. You know, like, I'm trying to think, like a pliers or something. Like if you have something like this that you would hold, but I like to have control over it. And because you see, it's like right away, it starts to melt. So I don't like that. But if you have sensitive fingers, you may want to find something that works for you. I, on the other hand, I worked at McDonald's when I was 16 to 18. And after you burn your fingers in the fryer a couple times, you have no fingertips anymore. So as my kids say, I have no feeling in my fingers anymore, so I can pick up anything that's hot. So this didn't bother me at all. So when you are doing this, it will take you a while to figure out how high or how low you can put your fabric before you burn holes in it. If you don't like the look of burning holes, like for example, this has holes in it, then you may lose a lot of your fabric. I personally did not care that I had holes in it, because by the time you're done layering it, you can't see the holes. When you're done layering this, even with this hole back here, it doesn't make any difference because it's going to be sitting on something, so you can't see it. Granted, if you have holes at the edges here, I would not like that, but I didn't get any holes at the edges. My holes were almost always in the center, because that's where I found myself holding it too close, and you'll see what I mean. So you're going to start holding it on the edges first. You always do the edges first. So you can just hold it on the edges, and as you're holding it on the edges, you'll see it just kind of starts to roll, and you're turning it, and you're rolling it, or it's rolling, and you're turning and turning and turning, and it's rolling on itself. So you can see now it's all turned up, and where it's turned up, it's gotten really hard. Now what I do is I take it, and it's still nice and smooth, but I want it to look all bumpy and wrinkly like this, okay? And I want the wrinkles to be up. So I put it with the dull side down and the shiny side up, and I just hold it, and I just kind of keep moving it, and it happens really fast. And there, it's done. And there it is. It's just all done. And you can see I already have a little tiny hole, and it changes color. It gets real shiny, and I'm sure that there must be plastic in this fabric, because that's what it turns into, as a form of plastic. So I'll show you with a bigger one. So you're just going to go around wherever the flame is. We're just going to take it like this, and just like that. And sometimes your flame, depending if there's like a breeze in your house or whatever, the flame just kind of moves around, so you almost have to follow it. And then I'm just, but it's so relaxing. I don't know what it is. It's like you get into doing it, and then I just went like this to move See in there, I put another hole in it. And that one's done. I'm going to try to do a big one to show you, because I want a big one so you can see how different it looks when it gets all wrinkly. So we'll just keep on keeping on here. And you can see some of my circles are ovals and some of my circles aren't perfect and they're jaggedy edges, and none of that makes any difference by the time you're done. So, and then there you go. See all the bumps starting? There you go. There. There, that was a good one for you guys to see all this stuff happening. And see, you hold it just even 1 minute too long and there's a hole. Okay, so for this one is super fast. And look at how far I'm holding it away. See how high I am? And still, the heat just totally annihilates this nylon or this whatever this is made out of. And I'm not very good at whatever it is. Some of you will find some of the fabric stinks too. Other fabric like this, whatever I washed this in with Gain or something, smells really good. And other fabric, not so good. Like some of my scarves did not smell good. But see how pretty that one turns out? That one's really pretty. Okay, so then when I do the tulle, I started doing it one sheet at a time. Well, I did not like the way that worked. So what I did was I ended up taking a bunch of tulle, like 3 or 4 pieces of tulle, and I did 3 or 4 pieces. It takes a while because you have to hold it up to the light and make sure you have all of the strands of miscellaneous pieces out of them, whatever your threads are from what you're working with, and get those out, and you kind of hold them together, and then you just kind of do them and they melt together, but it makes for a much more interesting look with your flowers when you do 3 or 4 of them versus 1. And then I just kind of, and I liked that look. You may not like that look, but I really liked the way that looked when I was done. So here's one that I did before I started filming, and then here's another one. So there's 2 completely, oops, make sure I'm on camera there. So there's 2 completely different ones. Okay. So I'm going to do one more brown one to make sure that we have enough brown so when we put it together, okay, and then we'll put it together, okay, so you guys can see, because putting it together really is, I mean, this is fun, but the putting it together for the flower is really what makes it so cool, because all of a sudden you're going, oh my gosh, just these little pieces make it look like a flower. There, do that. Just do that. And the other thing is too, is if you find that you don't have the right size, I don't blow out my candle. Not that it makes any difference. You can keep, I mean, you can blow it out, I guess, and restart it. But I just push my candle to the side, and when I'm putting my flowers together, when I'm doing the sizes, I try to figure out roughly how many sizes I need for the colors, and then if I need to take one of my bigger pieces, I can always cut it down and then heat it up around the edges, because I can trim it. So when I'm looking at these, I go, okay, it looks like I have enough for this and this, and then I'm going to put in one of these, but I don't want to put the brown up on here because it's not going to show. So I'm going to put the brown in there, and then that. And I had found this lace, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to put lace on here. Now, if you're going to add lace or something, you're going to add tulle or you're going to add any of that stuff, you have to add it to the back and you have to glue it because you're only stitching in the center, so it won't stay unless you glue it down. So let's say I want to put this in, okay? I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac, okay? So let me just put that over to the side right now with my candle, okay? So if I want to do that, then I'm going to put a bead of glue all the way around the outside edge of this. Oops. And I'm going to start. And this does have elastic in it, you guys, so it does make it a little bit easier to maneuver. So it's not like just putting on a piece of lace that doesn't have the flexibility that other lace would have. The elastic makes it easier to manipulate. Okay, so now I'm going to cut that off. Okay, I'm going to tuck that one in. Give that one more shot of glue. So now I'm going to give that one more good press. Get that out of there. Okay, so now I know that that is going to be on there, and that was going to be on there. Now, I want a bigger one than that, and now I might want that underneath there, so it just kind of shows a little bit. Now, the other thing that I found is you may not necessarily want to stack them straight underneath everything. You may want to do it a little bit what I call kittywampus, so that it shows. As long as it's going to get caught in the, it's going to get caught in with your thread when you do your X. It doesn't need to be perfectly centered. It can be so that if you look at this, this would be perfectly centered. You can put it off to one side so it shows more. It may not show on one side. So then I'm going to do this and this. And then maybe I'm going to do this. And I need another brown. And then maybe I want one of these. Maybe I'll put one of these on here. Like a little purple. And then a little brown. But I like this one, so I want this somewhere in here. Maybe I want that there, like that. Okay, and I like this. This one needs to be in here somewhere, like that, and like that, and like that. And like that. Okay, so there, and you've got a little tulle in there. I don't know how that got in there, but maybe we need another little piece of tulle in there. What do you think? Should we put another piece of tulle in there, you guys? And put that in there too, just like that. Okay, and then I've got this. Okay, so then I would take my clip and I would clip this all together. So now I know I'm done with this and I'm done with all of these. Don't get rid of these, okay? You spent all that time working on these extra ones. I just keep a bag of them together, and then the next time I do it, I just kind of keep them all together, and we're just going to keep working on all of them, okay? So the next, what do I mean? What do I mean? Sorry, I get a little excited. We're getting close to being done. So the next time you work on them, you're going to make more petals and you're going to make more flowers. You may need those ones that you made last time. Does that make sense? So that you would use more brown. You might not need may not need to make as much brown next time because you had the extra brown from this one. Okay, so I have this flower in place. So I am going, because I'm putting a button on top, I'm starting with my knot on the top because it won't show. So I'm going to stick it through here. What's nice about the DMC floss is that it's heavier than regular thread, so you don't need to sew it as many times, and you're just going to sew it I do probably 4 times. So this would be 1, this would be 2, this is 3, this is 4, and when I come back up on this time, I'm going to attach my big chunky button. Okay, now I look to see, do I like that? Now see, personally, I don't like that button there. That button is way too big. So let me see what else I have for a button, you guys. And this is the button I kind of thought I was going to like. And that is the button I like. It's between that button's too white. That button's too little. Let's see. No, I think I like this button. What do you guys think? Although that's kind of yellow. What do you guys think? Oh, maybe I don't want a button at all. Maybe I just want to glue that on. Okay, see? And maybe I'm not going to put a button at all. Maybe I'm just going to do that flower. See, and that's what I'm saying is you may find that there's something in your stash that you like better. I kind of like that. Okay, so I'm back here, which is perfect. I am going to, see, you just never know, right? You're on camera and you go, that's something I hadn't even thought of. But I do like that brown flower. Okay, so I'm going to knot it. And then what I do is, in order for no one to see the thread, I go down through the back of the flower, cut it off. No one can see where the thread is. We're all done with that. Okay. Get rid of this piece, whatever that is. And I like that, so I'm going to just take some of my Fabri-Tac, glue that on the back of that, put it on, covers that, push it on, get rid of this. And then, like I said before, I went like this. Like that. Pull it out a little bit. Kind of play with it to get it the way you want it. Make sure you get what you want. Now, this for me is a little bit big. I'm cutting that off a little bit. And there you have a cabbage rose, you guys. So hopefully this has answered any questions, and this has shown you how easy it is to do a cabbage rose. So if you have any other questions, or there's anything else you want to know how to do to make these, let me know. Shoot me an email, put a comment below. I hope that I answered all the questions. So until next time, hope you're having a great day, and I hope you try these flowers. They're so much fun, and they can be so addicting. Have a great day, you guys. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.